Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back with our first race in the FIA Nations Championship for the new current official season. So first race today, we started our racing on slot number 2. We did have a live stream, obviously that isn't available now, so I've done a video for you guys to check out how we got on in the first round of the FIA Nations. So slot number 2, we're our first attempt. I was doing this for a bit of entertainment for you because I didn't expect too much. Managed to qualify in P5 actually, so pretty happy with that. Now just to bear in mind, these lobbies are not as stacked as they would normally be because of the new ruling in the FIA Nations Championship that people who qualified for last season's official world online World Series, whatever it was called, don't need to qualify for this. So if they made it through to the World Finals, the online World Finals, they don't need to qualify through Season 1. So you're probably going to see a few missing names in this Season 1. But yeah, it's still good fun. We're going to take advantage of it and see if we can get some good points around it in the go-karts, which I managed to find a way to make him a little bit more drivable on the wheel. Now, obviously, go-karts are very hard on if you have a steering wheel. It's a known thing on GT Sport that the control pad is actually a little bit better with the go-karts. However, I did manage to make a little bit of a way of making these better. I changed my degree of rotation. On Fanatec wheels, you have the ability to change your rotation down to 540 degrees or whatever you want, and you can leave it on that profile. So I did it for this, and it worked a treat. You can also do this on Thrustmaster wheels, but I think every time you leave the session, it'll reset back, but you can still do it. So yeah, 540 degrees worked an absolute treat. Now, I didn't race this race from this view. I raced from the bumper view. As you can see, we've chasing down PCM. We're trying to work with him at this stage because the front few have got away. PCM had a bit of a scruffy start, so we're going to try and bump draft him up into the slipstream. So you want to try and work together with people in the go-karts at the start, because if you don't, you're going to lose the slipstream. Slipstream is vital in this race. So you can see I'm trying to get him back into the slipstream range of that group ahead of him because we want to fight for the win. We want to be in that group battling away for the top spot. We know that Will's up there with Mura. Mura's a very fast driver. Obviously, he's made it through to World Finals in the past. So yeah, we're giving him a few bump drafts and just trying to stick with PCM. Hopefully, he'll do it nice and clean. Now, one thing I really found was because I was using 540, and they've changed the tyre model on these go-karts. So you might have noticed that the tyres are now not slicks. The tyres are actually treaded for some very strange reason. We don't know why they've done it because go-karts in general run slick tyres. I don't know why they've done it. They've basically, if you go into a custom lobby, you'll see that they're on slicks and they use a different. You can feel the difference in the way the go-karts drive. However, if you do FIA, they're on these weird tyres where they're like a road car tyre and they don't have much grip. It's actually not as enjoyable. However, this is one of the reasons why I changed the degree of rotation, because it made these go-karts a lot more fun for me to drive. And yeah, if you try it out, I advise you give it a go. 540 degrees rotation works perfect for me when I was using the bumper cam. Now, if you're using this view where you're in the cockpit, you might want to change that a bit because the sensitivity is a bit different on this view. I find there's a few strange things on GT, but yeah, you might want to change that. But you can see in this race at the moment, we're holding on to P5. We're giving PCM a few bump drafts, and we've actually just about getting him into the slipstream of that group, which is good because if we get him in that slipstream, that means we can all work together to try and catch up to that lead group. You can see P3 seems to be struggling a bit every now and then. Seems to be locking up and losing a bit of time. So hopefully, if we just all work together, we might be able to catch that lead group. But they seem to be working together. P1 and P2 seem to be working quite well together. So if they're working well and if we start battling, that's going to be a problem. So you can see I'm not going to try and overtake him. I'm going to try and keep it nice and smooth through here. We don't want to battle away and lose time as we go through the final section. You can see the Spanish driver just gives us a bit of a shove there, and that was quite frustrating because at this stage of the race, you're on lap 5 of 25. You want to work together and just try and have a bit of racecraft. I always try and tend to keep a bit of racecraft till we get to the end and then battle it at the end. If we, I still thought we had a chance of getting onto the top 2 positions here because if we work together as a group, we could catch them. But when you've got people that just want to fight for every position at the start, like get to the front and just battle, it doesn't work like that. So unfortunately, you can see the gap that caused straight away. It actually forced us to lose the slipstream. We managed to get the position back into turn 1, but unfortunately, because of that move he did, we both had lost the slipstream from the 2 that were ahead of us. So that was quite annoying. However, we're going to see if we can get back into the slipstream. We have a bit of a slide through there, a bit of a moment there where, like I say, you can see a few people are having that moment. You can see the smoke kicking up off the floor, and you can see we're getting battled with on the outside there. We're trying to just keep it smooth. We want to run smooth, so we're going to skip ahead now to, I think, lap 7 when we're just about to get into the slipstream again. You can see we're actually doing purple sectors. We're on a good lap. You know, we're on the fastest lap of the race so far. We're riding really smooth. And then as we go through here again, he goes for the move. Just about to get the slipstream. You can see we were within about a tenth of a second of getting that slipstream to P4. But the Spanish driver completely ruins that and we're out the slipstream again. This is what I'm saying about working together and as a team. If you work well together, you get in the slipstream and you can then join the battle. Once you're all in the slipstream, then battle away, because if you're all together a part of a slipstream, if you lose a position, it doesn't really matter because the other car will pick up the slipstream. As we see the other go-kart there going a little bit wide, we're going to go down the inside. We don't want to hit him off wide there, so we go to the left and give him a bit of space. But you can see the gap now. This Spanish driver, because of the move he did, he's got another gap where he's not in the slipstream to the driver's head. So yeah, we were a bit frustrated. It was fun though. We were enjoying the racing, I have to say. We streamed this yesterday. I wanted to get you out a version so you can watch of what happened in the FIA. You can see he goes a little bit loose through there, the Spanish driver. But it was good entertainment. That's the main thing. We've got to remember, with FIA, I'm not taking it too serious anymore. So it's all about the fun and trying to get some fun racing. That's the main thing. It was just a bit frustrating that we've got a situation where we could have been fighting with P3 and 4 and helping them get up to P1 and 2, because 4 go-karts bump drafting each other are a lot faster than 2, and that is what a lot of people in the higher lobbies know this. But I expect with it not being a completely high lobby, I think the points in this were 370 or 380, you tend to not get that much racecraft like that going on. However, you can see I gave up on the hoping to get bump draft off this guy, so we ended up bump drafting him to see if we could push him into the slipstream. Let's try and work together with him. However, he was so slow through that corner there. You can see, I don't know what it was. I had to keep taking a narrow line through there because I was getting better exit speeds than him. So it was a bit frustrating. So but we're going to see, keep bump drafting him, because it's better for us to work with him than just carry on battling away and both of us losing time. So yeah, bump drafting him now to see if we can push him in close to the slipstream and see if we can just about get back in the slip. But he makes a big error there just as we were getting very close. You can see he makes a little bit of an error there. He manages to get away with it. He kind of rescues it, but again, he's just outside that slipstream range. So we're going to get that slipstream now, give him another shove up the rear of the go-kart and see if we can get as close as possible to picking up that bump draft. Sorry, not bump draft, I mean slipstream. But yeah, so far it's fun. We're entertained. But again, through there you can see that weird line he takes. He doesn't seem to get on the power early, so we actually go on the inside and go down the left hand side and take that position off him. Now you can see we started to lose the slipstream again. As I think the Spanish driver made a few errors. He was losing a lot of time out of that corner, which is so important. So I decided, let's see if we can get in the lead and see if he'll bump draft me for a bit after he's seen what I was doing to him. Maybe he will play the game and bump draft us and see if we can get into the slipstream of P3 and 4, and we can at least fight for a podium then. It looks like we're not going to get the battle for P1 or 2. You can see they've managed to pull out a little bit of a lead. However, you can see he did actually work with us for a few laps. He started to bump draft me. You can see we're starting to get close to the battle for P3 and 4. You can see that P1 and 2 are about 3 seconds ahead of the podium group there. And yeah, it was just a little bit too far ahead, so it was just all about trying to see if we can get in the battle for the final position on the podium, which would still be okay points. I think, like I say, I think it was like about 330 for P3 or something like that, so it wasn't amazing points, but yeah, there was a possibility that we could maybe squeeze onto the podium, getting very close to the slipstream. You can see we're almost into that slipstream at this stage. We're almost picking it up there, very close to picking it up, just outside it. You can see, obviously, with him getting the slipstream off the go-kart in front of him, we're going to be about 8 tenths behind now. But yeah, if the Spanish driver behind us keeps working with us, we should be able to get really close to picking up that slipstream battle of the final podium position. So going through this corner here, can we get a nice clean exit? This is where I tended to be quite strong. I was able to get a really good, clean, smooth exit from there. And we've actually managed to do it really well. And now we have finally got ourselves in that slipstream range. But what we need to do is make sure we get a little bit closer before we start battling away with anyone. So trying to keep it smooth. Let's not make any moves on anyone. Let's try not to battle with the guy behind us, because we want to get through here nice and smooth, so we're really close to the slipstream. So you can see going through here nice and smooth through there, getting very close to that slipstream now. You can see almost fully into the slipstream, but again, there's still a bit of a gap there. We really want to get within that final like 2/10, you know, like 10th or so, you know, basically as a group, you know, a train going through the main straight, so that then you can start battling away, because if you lose one position, it's not going to matter. So through this corner again, this is where we're very strong. I had to back out there because it looked like P1 was going to slide. I saw the smoke kicking up and wasn't sure if there was going to be an issue there, but this driver on the right side decides to go around the outside. But we've got the inside here. We're still trying to pick up that slipstream, and you know, still trying to make sure we don't lose that slipstream to these go-karts in front of us. So that's the main thing. We want to make sure we stay with PCM, etc. So going through here, we're going to go down the inside and get really close to them now. Now we're very close. This is perfect, because if we do battle, we're not really going to lose many positions. We're very close now. So yeah, if the Spanish driver behind starts battling with us, we should be safe to just tuck in behind him, and then he should have the slipstream. So pretty fair to start battling at this stage. You can see it's all very close. You can see going through on the replay camera, it's really, really close between the top three and the Spanish driver. Just a few attempts behind. As you see, PCM pulls out of the slipstream there. I think he had a little moment on the rear. We're going to follow the slipstream. I was going to try and bump draft PCM to get past Colin, because I felt like PCM might be a bit faster, but I wasn't really sure how the pace was between them two, because we were a little bit further back at the start. So yeah, I was going to try and bump draft one of them and see if we could work our way past, but you can see through here we get a little nudge from the Spanish driver again, a little cheeky nudge that he did kind of like doing these little cheeky nudges, but we still managed to hold on to the track. We don't lose a position there, we just sit behind PCM. So yeah, every now and then he was giving us that little cheeky nudge in the corner. He was doing it quite a few times, but got away with it this time, and we're going to go up the inside of Colin now, brake as late as we can, take the inside line, get on the power nice and smoothly. However, PCM again, you can see a lot of people seem to be struggling on the power. We had to get off the power just as we come out the exit, which is not what you want to do. So yeah, a few people were struggling on that turn one, seemed to be losing quite a bit of time, but now we're on the final 5 laps of the race. We're going to start battling. We want that podium position. I felt like if I could get myself in the lead and run some really smooth laps, as Colin there turned in when we kind of had the line, but I thought he was going to go a little bit wider and give us the space, but he didn't. But luckily, no one went off the track. We all stayed on the track. But yeah, getting a little bit messy now. You can see everyone fighting. They want to be in that lead. I wanted to try and get in the lead because I felt like if I could do like smooth 48.8, 48.9, something like that in the lead, we might be able to hold on to the podium. So we got ourselves up into P3. Now we've got to take a really fast, wide line through here. So as we go through here, I had to take a really wide line so we didn't cut off anyone. And I basically gave too much space to people. I tried to make sure they had enough space, but I ran myself wide onto the curb, lost the rear a bit. But luckily, again, like I said, because we're all in that slipstream and the go-kart slipstream is so strong, it's not a big problem if you do lose that like amount of time, because you can see in front of us now, we're fully in the slipstream and we're still in the battle for the podium. Let's see what we can do on these final few laps as we go through this final chicane, well, kind of a chicane in the go-karts, and work our way down the main straight. You can see getting the slipstream, getting very, very close to hitting that pit wall, otherwise known as the Antomics wall, as we can now go through into turn one. And we're going 3 wide up ahead of us. Can we make this more of a 4 wide situation? I decided to back out of that, take a nice smooth line, go wide in, and try and get a solid exit speed. But I slowly motion this down. You can see the Spanish driver hits the car in front of him, which then the classic Gran Turismo pinball effect ricochets him right into my line. Luckily, no one got any sort of loss really in that. I think Colin ended up behind us. PCM no real issue, and the Spanish driver no issue. But yeah, it's that. Hopefully that's something they fix on GT7, is the ricochet pinball physics. It's quite frustrating when that happens, because he just went from being right in, to be clearly ahead to right behind us. But then on the final lap, going into the first corner, I made a huge mistake. I was going to try and get a really strong exit by going as full width as I can on the track and getting on the power as early as I can, and unfortunately made that really silly error. So I was quite annoyed at myself at this stage, but it doesn't matter. Points were not massive. However, going up ahead of us now, we see someone gets completely sent off into the wall up there. That's PCM sent off. I don't know whether that was a Spanish driver or Colin. I don't know what happened, but then again, the Spanish driver here just pushes Colin out onto the grass, and yeah, he has to back out of that. And thankfully, I managed to get myself up to P4. So yeah, a little bit aggressive from the Spanish driver. He got the podium, but he got it quite aggressively, I think. I didn't really see exactly what happened with PCM, whether that was Colin or the Spanish driver that took PCM out. However, we decided to go again because we got 307 points or something from that race. But I thought, you know what, I had quite a lot of fun with that, so we'll try again and see what we can do. So this was slot number 3 of the day, and this was qualifying. Qualifying was an absolute mess in this one. We hadn't really got a lap in at the moment. You can see we're down in P8 with a very poor lap of a 49.1. Trying to get a slipstream, however, going through here you can see the car in front seems to be not really getting that good of an exit through there. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and overtake him here. Go down the left-hand side. We've got time to get ahead of him before we go into the braking zone. We had the slipstream, so you can see we managed a clean pass. And now I wanted to give myself a nice clean line through this section because I was quite fast through here, so that's why we overtook him. However, this guy in front, clearly not aware that we're coming through on a lap, just goes straight onto the racing line and ruins that one. So yeah, there's another lap ruined. So now we're going to go for another lap. We've got go-karts going ahead, and we're going to try and see if we can tuck into the slipstream. So we let this car on the right just go in front of us, and now we're going to try again. Just about time. We've got 20 seconds to get over the line, and we're just about going to get one more lap in. So this lap is going to be really important. Now the good thing is the driver ahead of us there has got the slipstream to the go-kart ahead of him, so we're getting a nice double draft, and we've got a nice gap, pretty much perfect. However, one of the go-karts slides out the way. I think he even made a mistake or just didn't want to go and do another lap. But we're going to get the slipstream off this guy, and we're going to go to the left again because I want a clean run on that final sector where we seem to be pretty strong. You can see we're purple through there, so far on this lap it's all looking good, and we've actually got the proper gameplay camera. You can see now I managed to record it from the PlayStation, so we've got the actual gameplay footage on screen at the moment. So going through here, you're going to go very tight through here and try and get on the panel nice and early into 4th gear, nice and smooth on exit. Did that quite nice, and then take the shortest line to the finishing line, stay into the left-hand side of the track, and we go over with not an amazing lap, but it's good enough to put us up to P2, which is quite nice. So yeah, if we can work well with the driver behind us, in front of us, you never know, we could get a really good solid result in this. So let's see what happens in this race, slot 3 of the day, starting from P2. I think the points were 343 for P1, so it's going to be interesting. Can we get some good points in this one? Now this race was a little bit uneventful compared to the first one that we did there. This was how you really want a race to go, but it's not necessarily the most entertaining, but it's how you want a race to go, because you can see P1 there, who qualified ahead of us, was totally up for the way of racing this with working as a group and just getting away from everyone else. So that is what you want in a race. You can see I started off by going by this method as well. I was going to bump draft him. You can see giving him a big bump into the rear of his go-kart, trying to push him along. He did look like he was going to let me pass. He's like almost trying to let me pass, but I was not sure what he was doing, so I was going to just bump draft him again and just stay behind him. So going through here, just trying to take a smooth line, being very careful on this opening lap when the tyres are not fully up to temperature yet. And then we go through the final chicane, trying to keep it nice and smooth. Early upshift into 4th gear. You can see, seemed to be a little bit cautious through there, so I went up the inside and we got ourselves ahead into P1. So this is now where we're hoping that he's not going to battle, but as you can see behind, he's going to bump draft us. And this is the perfect situation of what I wanted to happen. This is what I wanted to happen kind of in the previous race. I think if we would have all done this, it would have worked out so well. And you'll see the advantages of doing this, because if you work as a team, you're not fighting each other, so you're not losing time through the corners. You're just working together, and you will gain a lot of time over other people. I was trying to make sure I didn't make any big errors as well, just trying to keep it consistent. I think I could have drove a few temps faster each lap, got in certain areas, particularly turn 1, but yeah, with the advantage of having his go-kart behind us, just bump drafting us, and there will seem to be a bit of a gap developing to P3. If we work this strategy well, we could be in a very good position here to get either a P1 or a P2 at the end of the race. So yeah, over the line, solid start to the race. We're in P1, and you can see the gaps already developing on the track map with the go-karts. You can see where groups have obviously lost slipstream. You can already see it happening, and this is a problem. We also had a few disconnects in this race, so I think there was only 15 drivers. I think four drivers or 5 drivers got disconnected, which again, polyphony servers, bit of a problem at the moment. But yeah, luckily we didn't get disconnected, and yeah, we would have been starting P3 I think if it wasn't for that. I think P1 actually got disconnected, and so we got a bit lucky in starting P2 instead of P3. But yeah, the driver behind us, driving perfect. This is what you kind of want, just racing as a team rather than battling away on the early stages of the race. you know, lap 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or even up to lap 20, there's no point really battling too much. You kind of, if you work well together, you're going to have a better race finishing time and probably a better result than if we battle side by side, lose time, because then all that does is it brings other people into the battle. So going really well so far. We're going to skip ahead a little further on in the race. We're going to skip through. You can see quite a few laps later, and you can already see us working as a team, what it's doing on the track map. You can see there's actually two groups. If you look on the top right hand corner of the track map, you can see that we've got a nice gap. Myself and P2 have got a nice gap to P3 and 4, and they've got a nice gap to the rest of the group that are battling away. So it looks like the groups behind are battling quite hard, and we're all just keeping it smooth, working as a group. We've got two teams of two pulling away from the field, and it's looking good because it looks like we've got a big enough gap from P3 and 4 that if there's any mistakes, we can just pick up the slipstream. You can see it here now. Just look at the gaps that have developed with the people that are working as a team and the people that are battling. It really does show you the advantage of doing this sensibly and working together rather than fighting too much in these type of races. Now obviously it might not be as fun to watch, but it's how you get good results sometimes, and it was great to see this from this Portuguese driver behind us, driving really fair. I did expect him to fight a little bit more towards the end, obviously, because if he wanted the win, I expected him to go for that on the final few laps, because this is kind of what you want to do. The advantage of the slipstream is so strong on this combination. You really want to be in P2 until that final lap. So you can see he's just bump drafting us away. We're pulling away. We're building that gap up even more, and it's all going pretty much perfect at this stage. I think Aura as well in P4 there is bump drafting the go-kart in front of him along, doing the same type of thing. As we now skip ahead to the final section of the race, and you can see that Aura's up to P3. I think his bump drafting partner had made a mistake and was off the track, so he unfortunately didn't have any more slipstream, and you can see that gap has actually widened to Aura because of that. So yeah, it really does show you, as soon as you lose your partner in the slipstream, you lose a lot of time. So what we've done here is pretty much ideal. You can see at this stage I'm trying to defend, go away from the slipstream, and he's weaving. I didn't know whether he was signaling that he's not going to overtake me, but you can see he's not trying to overtake me, he's just trying to stay behind in the slipstream. He doesn't want to battle. So I was not sure. I was like, is he just giving me this win because he knows that we've worked well together and he's probably got a nice amount of points and he doesn't want to risk anything? So you can see again he's weaving there, and I kind of got the feeling in the mirror by looking at that he's just content with P2 and he's happy with P2. So this is great for me if this is the case, because we're going to go home in P1 with some very solid points. So going into this final sector, he's not going to battle us. He's going to let us stay in the lead. Again through here, trying to make sure we don't make any mistakes and give him the lead. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be going for a move. He's just keeping it nice and safe. He looked very happy in getting 320 points or whatever it was, I think, for P2. And we're going to go over the line and pick up a solid P1 in the first round of the nation. So I was actually quite surprised at this. We weren't going to do this race at one stage, but we said we would do it the other day just for a bit of entertainment, for a laugh. And we come away with the win in FIA Nations. 343 points, I think it is, or something like that. We'll check it out now. 343 points. So, yeah, nice points for the Nations Championship. We're actually in the top 10 of the EU leaderboard now. I think we're in P5. So, yeah, good start to the season. We're not going to be taking it too serious still, because, like I say, we're doing these for a bit of fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you more for more videos in the future and more live streams. Thanks again for watching, everyone.